So last time we've been able to design this. Now we cannot be able to make it responsive. Okay, I did not design all of this with you because I believe if you've been able to follow all from here, I believe you can be able to design this. Okay, this shouldn't be much problem for you, although I'm going to leave the design file so you can be able to follow along in case you just want to learn the responsiveness. So this is the stage we are going to learn the responsiveness now. Okay, so now all we just have to do is to bring up our design. So this is our design here, and what I'm going to do is to duplicate this and bring it like this place. Okay, what we do now for the responsiveness, we will take something like this. All we just have to do now is to make them responsive basically. So because now if I resize this frame like this, it's no longer, they are not responsive. Okay, so how do we make them responsive? So the first we do is to select this guy and make sure that these ones are responsive. Okay, now you can see they are not everything is responding, so we have to fix that. The first thing is to begin from here. If you resize this one, you can see that this chart is not responding, and that's because when we are creating it, I made it ignore auto layouts. Okay, so for this man to work now, we have to remove it from ignore auto layout and then find a way to fix it in. So what we do is to select this guy like this, okay, and remove it from ignore auto layout. And when we do that, it will not create a space of its own. So what we do is to come here, we'll take this something like this, and then we frame selection. Now when we frame selection, we can now add it totally as Shift A like this. Okay, we are not going to do anything now. Another thing we'll do is to select it like this and select this one here and press Shift A to add them auto layout. When we do that now, we cannot take this one to be something like minus. So when we make it minus, you can see it's going to be on. Why we added auto layout earlier on is that now we can now select the same auto layout and then shift the padding like this, so that this guy can go all the way to this extent. We can also set this man to fill container like this, so that whenever it begins to adjust, it will be fine. Then we can now take this one and move it to the bottom. Just use the arrow key and move it to the bottom. Now you can see we have our design ready, so there's nothing else to do. And the next we do is to take everything that is here and then make it fill container and fill container. Yeah, this one is fill container. And if you should select this guy and extend like this, okay, is this extending? It's not. So what we'll do is to select this guy, this one. Okay, now if you click here and set, you can see this one, the main chart is not set to fill container, so we'll set it to fill container like this. And when we set it to fill container, it's not reaching this end, and that is because this one has a padding of 36. So we want this padding to be, if we remove this padding now here, you see that it's getting to this number, right? So what we'll do is to expand this padding and go to the individual padding and set it to, let me set this one to 40. Okay, I think 40 is too much, 36. Okay, or maybe 30. Okay, 30 is fine. You can see 30 is set to this side, but 30 is not set to this side, so that it will be able to get to the extreme there. Now if you resize this guy, and I can see, yeah, our chart is resizing, which is cool. Now we'll set this one to this text to fill container as well. So this one fill container like this. So the next one is this one here. We'll set you can see everything fills, but this one does not fill. So we'll set this guy to fill container, this text here. I think basically this one fill container, and the text itself should be fill container. Okay, so this one, the same thing. I think let's try this one out first. Yeah, you can see everything is resizing now, which is pretty cool. So this one too, the same thing. The fill container, and the text itself should be fill container. So basically, so set this one fill container, and the text here fill container and fill container, like this. Okay, so if there's any other thing here, I think that is pretty much okay. Now, depending on how you want them to respond, that will determine how the way you are going to set some of these auto layouts behaviors. So for this one, if you set it like this, okay, I think this one is already responsive. Most of the things here are already responsive, so which is what you can go with, but this one is not. So what I'll do is to set this guy, this one, what I'll do is to set it to wrap. So when I set it to wrap, what we to do now is that if I reach here, it will automatically break like that. Yeah, so that is that area. So if I select like this, you can see it will adjust like that. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do now is this. If I'm going to select this and this, and then shift A to add a auto layout, and then so that if I resize like this, okay, you can see nothing is responding now. What I'll do is to select this one and fill container, and select this one and fill container. So now if I resize like this, they will all resize. Okay, but now you can see this one is extending beyond the way it should, and again the gap here, the gap is too much, so the gap there should be 30, and this guy is extending too much. So what we'll do is to select this one and extend it like so. Okay, now if we look at this place now, you can see this one resized to a very high extent that we don't want. What we would do now is this. We are going to take this guy, when he begin to reach, I can see it's no longer cool. So what we'll say is this: whenever it reaches here, it should not be able to resize anymore. So what we'll do now is to select this guy and say, okay, you know what, you can resize yourself to as much as you want, but whenever it gets here, I want you to have a minimum width. That means use this current size that you are now, don't resize yourself smaller than this. So I will say set to current size. Now what it will now do is that it can be able to adapt to this side as much as I want, but when I begin to resize, you can see what is happening now. So it will automatically jump to something like this. Okay, so now it can if I begin to extend, it can now jump like this. Okay, in the main dashboard, because if you look at this guy now, you can see that the profile is on the top, not on the this profile status is on the top, but in this place the profile status is here. This is the screenshot now. So but now if we begin to resize our own like this, it can, whatever that is here can only go below what is here. So there's no way to make this one currently in Figma, there's no way to make this guy to be the first one unless we make it something like this, so which is not the way it is arranged in the profile, something like this. Okay, so but what we can do is to use a plugin. You can see that whenever I'm resizing this guy here, okay, this one does not move. This it doesn't resize. The header, sorry, the navigation bar and the top here does not move. So how do we make it responsive as well? So what we'll do now is to take this one like this and then set it to set the gap here to auto. Okay, it's already auto. Now if I select the main distance, all this while the one we'll be resizing is this main one. But now if we select the main frame and resize like this, you can see the inner one is responding, but the top nav part there is not responding. So what we'll do now is that if you select this one, we are going to use what we call constraint and begin to make them to resize. So what we'll do is this: if you select this one, for it to respond, we are going to come here. Maybe for some reason your own might look like this, the constraints might look like this. All you just have to do is to click on this icon here, and then you begin to see this horizontal and vertical constraint. So you select the horizontal constraint and set it to left plus right like this. Now if you select the main frame and resize like this, you can see they are beginning to respond like that. Okay, I can see if your own is not behaving like mine, all you just have to do is to select this one and make sure that the gap between them is set to auto, and yeah, that is basically it. So the next one for this, if this one is not responding, all you can also do is to select it like this and then set the constraint here to left plus right, so that it's going to be able to resize like that whenever you move the main frame like this. Okay, so I think that is basically it. So the next we'll do now is for it to be able to behave or to look like this whenever you resize, you're going to use a plugin called breakpoint. So what you do now is to select this guy here and duplicate like this. So whenever you are designing you're making a responsive design in Figma, there are basically ways you can use this pattern to be able to show to developer that whenever it is resized, this is how it's going to be. But the most efficient way is just for you to have multiple screen. You design the way the mobile view is going to be and the way the desktop and the tablet view is going to be. But for this professional dashboard, there's no one for mobile, it's only for tablet and desktop. So I will select this. I've duplicated this guy. I'll select this one right now and set the go to the frame and change it to something like a iPad Pro 12.9. so if I change it now, I can see all I can now do is to resize my frame to be able to get to the size that I want. Now you can see this one is not resizing very well. All I can do is to set it to fill container so that it will not be able to adjust as much as it's supposed to. So if I select the main guy here, I cannot be able to show how it's going to be. Now this one I can resize it a little bit more like this. Now this is me trying to design how it's supposed to look. So for this one, I'm going to take this guy and the font there should be 20, so it's going to be smaller, or 22 for now. And then I'm going to move this one to this area like this, and I'm going to make this edge like this. That is, the length should be longer this way. And I will take this one and move it to the top like this. So this is me trying to show developers this is the way it's going to look when it is resized. And this one I'm going to resize like this. I'll say I'm trying to tell the developer that once this thing is resized, it's going to look like this. Now for this man to be hidden, this text to be hidden, you just select this guy and then say clip content. Once you clip content, now the S is still showing. What I can use to hide that X is that this guy is an auto layer, right? We have the gap between the text and the icon, so I can just increase this gap here forward so it will be hidden. Now this is me showing that this guy is for tablets. Like if I write tablet like this, and this one is desktop side, a desktop view, so write desktop. So desktop tablet. So now what we can do is, how do we link them up so that whenever you resize like this, okay, it should be able to behave the way it's supposed to behave. Okay, I think this is the one we're working with. So whenever I resize like this, it should be able to behave like to adapt to this screen. So that is where this plugin comes in. All you just have to do now is to go to the action button and then bring up a plugin here called Breakpoint. This is a paid plugin, but in every design that you make, it will give you a 15 days free trial to be able to experiment, which is a pretty much a fair deal. So for this design, all I just have to do now, the way to use this plugin is to now I have this desktop and then the tablet. So the way you can be able to use this plugin is to have something like this. I'm moving this thing around. Click on continue like this. If this is the I think if this is the first time, it will just say start a new trial, a 15 days free trial. All right, now what we'll do here is this. We'll click on this one that said adaptive layout. Once you click on adaptive layout, the first thing you do is to the smaller side, you have to start from the smaller screen. Let's say you have desktop, tablet and mobile, so you start with the smaller screen. You start with mobile, okay, but now we just have tablet, right? So what you do is to select this guy and then take this the size of the width of the tablet. I press Ctrl C to copy the width and come here to this one, and you can see this is more like from here to here. So from here to here, I will tell this guy that it is this size, okay, 2024. Now you can see I have said that this from here to here is going to be 24. Now I'm going to add another size, which is the desktop. So for the desktop, if I select the desktop screen, I can copy the width there, Ctrl C, and select this guy and tell it that the desktop size is something like this, okay, 1728, and I'll click here to be able to match up to that size. So now what I just said is that from here to here is 1024 and from here to here is 1728. Okay, so now for me to be able to link these two together is the way to do it is to just select this one like this, select this guy and say I want to get this one like this. Okay, for me to link this one up, you select this guy and click here plus. When you click on that plus, it will say select the frame used as the master layout for just what he's trying to say is that select the frame that started from this extent to this extent, which is the smaller one, right? So you select it like that. You can see it has checked it, and then you go to the next one. You select this one again, okay, and then you click here plus to add, and then you select the desktop frame like this, okay, and it has applied it just like that. So you can increase the size like this, all you cannot do, all you just have to do now is that if you select this one and begin to resize like this, so once you get to this point, it automatically change. So you don't need to worry anymore. You can say once you get to this point, it automatically show you the size or the view that it has to be once it's on this side and something like that. So you drag like this, the way it behaves, it doesn't matter, it will just be adapting like that. Okay, so I think that is basically it for now. In the next section, we'll be designing something like this more. Okay, I think that is basically it. So if you enjoyed the class, please give a like and then share, and then as well subscribe. Okay, thank you, and see you in the next one.